Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Thrive Live show. And today I am here with my very special guest. She is an eating psychologist, and her name is Natalies Zises. And she's also a speaker on our expert panel on the Weight Loss for the Driven Woman Masterclass. So I am super pumped to have Natalie here. We had a great interview. It hasn't aired yet, but if you're subscribed to the masterclass, you will certainly get to hear from Natalie in depth. But today I wanted to bring her on and just have her share a little bit about herself, her background, and why she is so passionate about helping women get control of binge eating and every other issue surrounding food out there. So welcome, Natalie. Thank you for being here.
Yay. Thank you. So glad to be here.
Yeah. So would you mind sharing with our group, and I am, just to let you know, I really like to bring people that I'm feeling super aligned with into the group, and you're one of those people. So can you please tell them a little bit about you and why you do this?
Yeah, it's actually an interesting story, if I do say so myself. After college, I decided I was an environmental science major in college, and then I moved to San Francisco for a marketing job, totally all unrelated to food. And within 24 hours of being in that job, I decided I wanted to leave and do something totally different, and ended up going to culinary school.
Wow.
And fell in love with cooking and with food. I'd always been in love with food, but this was kind of taking it to the next level because I hadn't learned how to cook. I didn't know how to cook a thing until senior year of college. So this was like going from 0 to 60 real quick. And when I was in school, I was really happy in one way. And I was also really unhappy in this other big way, which was I had no control over what I was eating. I was constantly binging. Everyone made made light of it. I was like, I got to be the first in line for like the sweets. Like I was like biggest sweet tooth, thought I had like huge sugar addiction. And then I entered the world of professional cooking. I was a chef for 3 years. And again, like really happy on the one hand, loved what I was doing, super passionate, loved the people. And my body was really, really miserable. I was getting sick all the time. I was coming home at 1, 2 in the morning and just stuffing my face with anything that was around after eating all night long, like on the line. You're constantly tasting things as you're eating. But I was really in denial about it. I was like, it's fine. This is just like chef life. It's crazy and whatever. And finally, I got really, really sick. I had some autoimmune stuff come up and was diagnosed with leaky gut. And I truly could not get out of bed. It was one of those things where I couldn't remember the last time I ate a vegetable. I was probably having like Tate's chocolate chip cookies, a bag of those almost every night. And I left the industry in search of healing myself through food. And I really came at it from a nutrition standpoint. Like, okay, got to get my nutrition under control. Got to stop eating just carbs and sugar every day. So like started making myself soup. It was the middle of summer and I was like drinking bone broth and having like quinoa and this kind of stuff. And I was like doing it for a few days and then diving right back into like ice cream and cookies and all this stuff. And I looked around and I saw my friends were doing that. My family was doing that. Everyone I knew was trying to be on a diet all the time and failing. And I was just like, this can't be it. Like this cannot be my future. And I was doing a bunch of Whole30s one after another and constantly failing. And I was either feeling really great for a few weeks, but really deprived, really great physically, but really deprived mentally and emotionally. Or I was feeling really indulgent mentally and emotionally and really sick physically. And I was kind of like, there's gotta be a better way, right? And somehow I'd gone on this retreat and I was getting my master's in nutrition. So I was like really into the nutrition thing. And somehow on this retreat, I kind of put out there, like, I want more than just nutrition. Like to the women, I was telling them what I want to do. And I was like, I want to understand women's relationships to food. And at that time, I didn't identify with being a binge eater, but looking back, like fully was. And someone there had introduced me to the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. And I was like, holy shit, this sounds right up my alley.
Yeah.
So I dove in. I ended up doing their certification and becoming an eating psychology coach. And then for a little while, I was doing both. I was coaching with functional nutrition and eating psychology. And then and also really healed my relationship with food through doing that training. But I was still finding like, the nutrition stuff just wasn't helping women. It was just making them more for this specific group, for people who are coming to me for binge and emotional eating issues. they needed to really let go of all of the rules first and really start, just like I did, and really start from the basics of what's going on here, what's happening in my life, in my relationship to food, what are the stories I've created, what are the habits and triggers and stuff going on. And before we even talk about what to do nutritionally, we have to get that solid, just like I did. So that was kind of my road and kind of what led me to what I do now.
Yeah, I love that. I love that story. And I think it's really interesting how you came from a chef background where you're kind of just really in love with the food, the process, the creativity of it, and you're coming through that.
Yeah.
And using part of that story, right, to come into what you do now.
Yeah.
I think our audience, I think our audience would really love to hear if they're stuck in this cycle right now. Like if they're just stuck in this overwhelm, this cycle. Maybe it is a binge eating cycle. Maybe it is a binge eating, but it's just like you talk about a little bit in the interview that we do on the masterclass.
Yeah.
The mindset and the energy around it.
Yeah.
Maybe they're stuck there. What could they do right now, Natalie? What's one thing they could walk away with today and really start to change that behavior?
Yeah, it's just number one thing is just noticing, is just awareness, right? Before you change anything, you have to be aware there's an issue. So I really like to think about my body and my mind as two people who are in a relationship with each other. And if I'm constantly telling my body, like if my mind is being a dictator and telling the person it's in a relationship with, hey, this is what you're eating today, and this is what you're not eating today, and this is when you're eating, and this is how much you're eating, my body's going to be like, don't try and control me. What are you doing? Why the fuck do you think I'm going to listen to you today?
Rebellion.
Right? Because you're in an abusive sort of dictator-like relationship. So really stepping into that idea that, hey, this is supposed to be a loving, communicative relationship. And if you are noticing an imbalance where you're binge or stress eating, ask questions, just like you would in a relationship. Hey, what's going on here? What are you needing that I'm not giving you? Did you just have a really stressful day at work with absolutely no breaks and no relaxation moments? And so this is your one moment to dive into relaxation and joy at the end of the day. Oh my gosh. So I was not listening to you all day long. And so right now is your time to be like, hey, listen to me. I want relaxation. I want joy, right? Which, by the way, we're all hardwired to crave and want and need. We are literal pleasure beings walking around in like a pleasure deficiency all the time.
Wow.
So adding in that conversation is huge, and mostly knowing that it's a need for more of something or less of something. So more quiet, more slowness, more joy, more connection, more stimulation, and less structure, rules, rigidity, stress, fast paced. Like we all feel like we're living this like fast forward life, right? Like everything is go, 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 and the next, and you do something and you don't even stop to enjoy the fact that you just accomplished it. It's like, what's next? What do I need next? So I think pleasure is in the slowness. However, you can create more connection and joy and pleasure in your life. Food will become less important to fill that role. So it's not about eating less or having less joy with food. It's about bringing in more pleasure, more relaxation, and more joy in your life. And food is a part of that, but it can stop being the number one thing that you're looking forward to. Can't wait for my mid-morning snack. Can't wait for lunchtime. Can't wait to get home and like eat all the things like that. For that 2 weeks that I was in that marketing job before culinary school, I really saw that. That was like a crash course in what, I haven't had a desk job since then. I mean, now it's sort of a desk job, but I haven't had like a corporate job since then. But that was a very intense 2 weeks where my eating was off the charts. I could not wait for lunchtime or for dinner time because I wasn't happy. So, yeah.
I love that how you said pleasure deficiency. That really hit me hard. And then you talk about, the slowness and the mindfulness. And I think that I've been talking about a lot of that in my group, and they'll all relate. It's like force versus flow. Right? It's like we live in this masculine state of energy where it's go, go, go. And it's so forced, even in fitness, right? It's so forced. Yeah. And we don't take the time to step back and really flow into that. What makes us happy? What makes us joyful? What feels like it's flowing and fluidity. And so you saying that really resonates, and it will resonate with my audience right now because we've been talking a lot about the force versus the flow, right?
Yeah. And another F versus F, it's like fill versus fuel versus fill. Like, are you filling yourself right now or are you fueling yourself right now? And it's okay. By the way, neither answer is bad. It's just about being a completely judgmental-less, like non-judgmental, curious anthropologist in your life. Because when we put any judgment on it, we immediately get stressed about it, and then it's very hard to change it because we're in fear, and it causes tension and resistance, right? So coming at it just out of curiosity, out of love, out of interest, and just asking, oh, interesting. You just had dinner and you were really full, like you must have been full because that was like a pretty large dinner, and now you're like halfway through a pint of ice cream. Like, is something going on here? Like, are you filling or are you fueling? Okay, I'm filling. Okay. Reminding yourself, because we have in our society like never-ending judgment with food. So it's really, really hard to take yourself out of the judgment mode. But that's one of the most powerful moments, is when you're in that moment that you normally would judge yourself for, is saying, totally fine, just curious, like what might be going on here? Like, do you need to just go maybe take a bath, put on some nice music, call a friend, take a walk around the block while maybe I have a friend that lives near me, and we've been getting into these like evening walks, and it's been so much fun to connect with someone after a long day and just kind of move around. And especially in New York when it's like freezing so much of the year, I'm just so happy that it's hot out. So just finding your way to connection in that moment, because that's usually what we're craving at the end of the day, is relaxation and connection.
I so agree with that, because we spend our entire day in disconnect and autopilot most of the time.
Yeah.
And I think that you hit the nail on the head when you said that, because most of the time we're in autopilot.
Yeah.
So we take our autopilot home, and we take our autopilot, and halfway through the ice cream, we haven't even realized what we're doing, or halfway through cooking dinner and eating everything around you while you're cooking dinner, you don't even realize because you're still so disconnected.
Totally.
So I love that you brought the connection piece in, because I find that when I'm more connected to not only my surroundings, but the people in my life, it allows me that pause.
Yeah.
Right? It gives me that built-in pause.
Yeah.
Which is powerful.
Yeah. And it's never really, the food is never actually what you need, right? Like, if you are really, really hungry, you'll have like steamed spinach and salmon and avocado and like things that are super nourishing, right? But if you are craving the ice cream or the pizza or the things that your body's not actually like, hey, I need this to survive, it's a great cue to listen more and to ask and be like, what's going on? I see that you're really craving ice cream. Like, what's happening underneath that? Is there something you're feeling anxious about? Are you feeling like lonely? Are you feeling, there's so many feelings that we feel like we need to fix. Like, I can't be lonely right now. I can't be bored right now. I can't be anxious right now. I need to fix it, right? But actually, it's totally human and okay to have any of those emotions. So just simply acknowledging what it is and telling yourself, hey, you're safe here to have that feeling, can make a lot of the cravings go away. Obviously not all, and it's a complicated thing to kind of rewire, and that's what I work on with my clients. But a big part of the stress can be taken away when you give yourself that safety to feel whatever needs to be felt.
I love that. And there's so much power in that. And I think that sometimes women kind of scratch over that. They just glance over it and they want the mechanism.
Yeah.
Right? You're looking for,
what do I do? What do I do about it? Yeah.
Right. What do I do about it? But when you can really step back and get out of the masculine force of it and really start to connect and get into the feminine kind of flow of it, and really be okay with just asking yourself those self-inquiry questions.
Yeah.
And like you said, being an anthropologist, I love that.
Yeah.
And that's a great analogy. But we really can do some internal work and taking the time for that.
Yeah.
It really does yield the best and longest and lifelong results, right?
Yeah. And one of the things that my clients are always saying is like, I don't even know what I enjoy anymore. I don't even know what gives me pleasure anymore, because pleasure is something that we have to give it our attention to feel it, right? Like, if someone's giving you a massage, but you're so in your head about this work thing coming up, or if someone in your family that's sick or whatever's happening, you're completely missing the pleasure, right? So pleasure is something that we need to give attention to feel. So if we're constantly living our life in fast forward and tuning out, it can be really hard to even be like, what do I like anymore? Like what food do I even enjoy anymore? What activities do I even enjoy anymore? Right. So when you can't even think about, I do a pleasure inventory with my clients in the beginning, because I like to know what lights them up, and pleasure equals relaxation. So it's really important to know what things you enjoy doing to get into that relax, rest, and digest state. A lot of them have a lot of trouble even naming more than 5 things, right? So that right there, it's not because you don't love things. It's because you're in that stress, fight, or flight all the time, and your body can't actually experience like the small pleasures, like waking up and going to the bathroom. Like I love my morning bathroom times. I feel so good that my body is regular and I can go to the bathroom. Brushing my teeth, it's like a teeth massage. Like doesn't need to be big things like buying a new outfit or food or whatever it is. It can be like the feeling of your feet on the carpet and turning on the air conditioning when it's hot inside. So if you're not aware, if you're not in tune with your body and with your feelings, your senses, you miss out on daily, like full of pleasure all day long.
I love this conversation because it resonates so much so in not only what you're talking about with, pleasure for food and just understanding, but it goes with fitness too. Like I talk to my clients about the same thing, like what we call a happiness activity in my training with my clients.
Yeah.
And we look at what makes you happy to move. How do you feel? When do you feel your best when you're moving? Is it dancing? Is it
working out?
Gardening? Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be like you run because your girlfriend runs.
Yeah.
That's what you think you have to do. Like let's feel what feels good to us. And that's another disconnect I find too, Natalie, is that people don't know.
They don't know. Yeah. And it's a great, I love, like, whenever I find something that makes you anxious or something you don't know about, whatever, I'm like, this is awesome. We have such an opportunity here for you to create such a beautiful new experience for yourself in life, right? Like everything is perspective. It's not like, oh no, I can't feel any pleasure. I'm broken, right? It's actually like, wow, you're having this issue with food. And we're noticing that you are having some pleasure issues.
Yep.
How cool. Like how much power are we about to take like into your life that we can do this? We have this intervention here to work with. So yeah, I love movement. Movement for me is a daily non-negotiable, and not because of how I want my body to look, but because how I need my body to feel, like how connected I need to feel to myself. And I always, usually between that, like 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, I'll be at my computer and something will just go ding, it's time to dance. And I'll be like, oh my God, yes, it's all day. I've been working and I haven't danced yet. And I'd just be like, Alexa, turn on Justin Timberlake, whatever. Or sometimes it's something like right now I have my period. So I'm in like a more flowy emo spot. So I might turn on like Sarah Bareilles or something like that. And just like flow and just move. And doing that actually really helps your body digest experience and digest energy. So a lot of stuff with food imbalances can come up because there's undigested life experience or emotion in your body. So movement is so important for getting that stuff out. And if I have like a kind of icky like call or experience with a client or experience with a family member, whatever it is, right? I will like move my body through it to make sure none of that gets stuck inside me and comes out in unwanted symptoms like overeating, not sleeping well, not going to the bathroom, making choices that don't actually feel good for me with food. So those are all just clues that we need to tune in more and do a little bit more mental and emotional hygiene work.
Yeah, you are nailing it for me. I'm so aligned with what you're saying. It really speaks to me, Natalie. Thank you. There's just so much congruency in what we speak and how we believe that we should help women. And this is just really wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so glad. And it's all about helping people give them the tools to tune more inward. And I think that's what's really disheartening about a lot of like other practitioners or coaches who kind of give you their best practice. Like, here's what I eat every day. Here's my workout every day. It's like, okay, but also what makes you think that our lives are similar at all? Like my day-to-day is so different from even my closest friends.
Yeah.
Right. So giving someone the tools to help like an anthropologist, be their own best coach sort of, is what is my goal, and it sounds like is yours too, of really like how to tune inwards and to read, like Google yourself, like be your own best Google, like this is happening. What does this mean? And then be able to sit with yourself and think, oh, it's because I didn't check in with myself at all yesterday. And I had a really hard day actually. And then I went straight home and had to like put my son to bed and deal with my husband, and we're talking about taxes. And like, then I just went straight into the ice cream right after that. It's like, duh.
Yeah.
You needed to. That's what you needed because so making yourself right, because you're always making a choice that makes sense for your body in that moment, and then learning why that made sense for you and being able to manipulate positively around that.
That's awesome. I love all of this. I love talking to you. And
me too.
I want to remind the audience right now that's in this group, I know a lot of you here that are listening now are signed up for the weight loss masterclass, excuse me, that we're doing and we're holding. We're all co-creating it together. I like to say mine, but it's not mine. It's ours. It's ours collective.
Yeah.
A group of women that are powerfully committed to helping be part of the solution instead of the problem. And Natalie goes even deeper in her interview with me on the masterclass. So if you haven't signed up, I encourage you to do that because you'll hear from Natalie and other aligned women who are powerfully connected to becoming part of the solution. So I'm really proud of it. I'm so excited to have Natalie on the summit and speaking. And I'm going to go ahead and leave the link to your website, Natalie, here in the comments. And I'm also going to leave the link to sign up for the masterclass, just in case you haven't yet. You still can, and you can still watch all the interviews that have passed, and you'll still be in time to listen to Natalie's live. Awesome. And I know she's giving away a beautiful gift to all of you that tune in. So if you're resonating with her right now, you'll definitely want to chime in on that masterclass so you can get her free gift.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Natalie. It's just a pleasure having you here. And before we go, can you tell our audience, just say your website and where they can find you before I pop it in?
Sure. So it's super easy. It's just my name, natalieszises.com, Zises. And my Instagram handle is the same. And I'm always on there doing IGTVs and stories and linking stuff. So if that's interesting to you, you know where to find me.
That's great. And if you're going to go on the masterclass, you have to hear about babka because we talk about babka.
Oh my God. The love of my life. Yes.
Yeah. We'll talk about the love of Natalie's life, babka. So you guys might want to join in to hear that.
It's not a guy named babka. It's a type of Jewish dessert. That's great.
Yeah, I learned a lot. Oh, Natalie, thank you. It's a pleasure having you here. And thank you for taking time out of your day to talk to us.
My joy.
All right. Bye. Talk to you soon. Bye.